Hello, and thank you for joining us once again on Classic Vinyl Podcast. This is the podcast where we listen to and review mostly songs, sometimes albums from the classic vinyl era of the 60s and 70s. I am one of your hosts, Justin, and like always, I'm joined in the basement studio by my co-host, Tyler.
Thank you again for having me.
It's good to have you here, and we're on to our second episode of Season 4. So we're still going. We've got a song by Badfinger tonight, and this was suggested to us by Caleb from Henderson, Nevada. So this one was suggested quite a while ago. We just didn't get to it. I know we've done one other Badfinger song on here, and Badfinger for me is a pretty decent band. They kind of fit into my Beatles love, I guess, because they were an Apple artist and don't mind the band at all anyways. But
they sound good.
They do, and they're a band that should have had really a success story, but they really read out like a tragedy, honestly, when it comes to this band.
That's a shame.
Bring it home, baby. Make it soon. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Badfinger, okay?
Okay.
They're a Welsh band. They were originally formed as the band named the Ivies way back in 1961. They were originally formed with Pete Ham on vocal and guitars, David Jenkins on vocals and guitars, Ron Griffiths on vocals and bass, and Roy Anderson on drums. I guess they didn't want Roy singing. He's the only one that didn't have any vocals.
Yeah, I have to wonder, with this being a Welsh band called the Ivies, if Ivies was spelled with like 17 letters and most of them were consonants.
No, it was just I-V-E-Y.
Have you ever seen Welsh?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
It's a weird language.
Yeah. Well, isn't every language that isn't your first language kind of weird? When you really think about it. I mean, let's be honest. If you look at the English language, it's probably one of the most strange with how many sight words we have. And
English is a bastardization of a dozen different Latin languages mixed together.
Yeah. So the band, they've had multiple lineups over the years, but the most popular lineup is Pete Ham, Mike Gibbons, Tom Evans, and Joey Molland. That's kind of when they got into the Badfinger era, and that's how we know them as mainly. They signed to Apple Records, obviously the Beatles record label in 1968, and they were suggested to change the band name from the Ivies. I think the Ivies was kind of a more early 60s pop band name, and they wanted something with a little more edge to it, so Badfinger come out.
Certainly has edge.
Yeah, it does have edge, and there is kind of a cult thing to where the name come from. George Harrison has stated the band was named after a stripper that they had known in Hamburg named Helga Fabdinger, and so it's kind of just flipped around, and it's kind of got a couple different meanings because it kind of does have a more edgy name than the Ivies.
It sounds like maybe how Ringo Starr would have pronounced her last name.
Yeah, it could have been a Ringoism. yeah. So the band made 5 albums with Apple from 1968 to 1973, really until Apple folded because of the Beatles' ongoing issues, and that's a whole nother podcast on itself. But they had multiple financial issues after Apple folded and some management problems with their manager, Stan Polly, where he was embezzling money from the group and other bands, and so that really kind of caused a downfall for these guys. This led to Pete Ham's suicide in 1975 at the age of 27. Another one of those guys, not so famously from the 27 Club, but definitely in the 27 Club. I mean, he had a lot of mental issues going on. You know, back in those days, that wasn't really a thing. You didn't think of getting people mental health, but it was still a problem. And he had a lot of money issues, and that led to his suicide.
So let's blame the manager for not only the untimely death of Pete Ham, but also for this band's breakup.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah, he stole it.
So Tom Evans from the band also dies from suicide in 1983. And then you have Mike Gibbons dies of a brain aneurysm in 2005, which left Joey Molland as the only surviving member of the band until March of 2025 when he passed away. There was multiple other lineups over the years, including Mullins, Badfinger, and Bob Jackson's Badfinger, who was a member. Bob Jackson was a member of the band from 74 to 75, but they really never seen the success that they had had in the early 70s. They released a total of 10 studio albums. One of those albums is the Ivies. They had 7 compilation albums and 3 live albums. 2 of the albums hit the top 50 in the U.S., with their album No Dice being their top charting album in the U.S. at number 28. Their albums never really did very well. They had a couple hits, this being one of them, obviously, but they released 14 singles overall. So in the U.S., they had 7 of those singles in the top 100. Just 4 of those singles hit the top 10, with Day After Day, this song we're doing today, being their top charting at number 4 in the U.S. Now, in the U.K., they had 4 singles in the top 100, 3 of them being in the top 10. Come and Get It as their top charting in the U.K. at number 4. Day After Day, the song we're doing today, is actually their top charting song if you want to go worldwide anywhere, and it hit number 2 in Canada. Not bad, I guess.
They did all right.
And the band sold 15 million albums worldwide. They're kind of one of those bands that I think people have heard a couple of their popular songs, but they've kind of been forgotten a little bit. A lot of people thought these guys were the Beatles, because these guys were coming out with Apple Records as the Beatles were breaking up and stuff. And a lot of people thought these guys have a similar sound. You had George Harrison producing them and Paul McCartney helping. And so a lot of people thought it might have been the Beatles in disguise, but obviously it wasn't. So
they all had their mustaches on.
So do you want to get on to the song review?
Yeah.
And now it's time for the song review.
So today we're doing a song Caleb from Henderson, Nevada suggested to us, Badfinger Day After Day. Now this single was released on November 10th of 1971 in the U.S. and for some reason not till 2 months later in the U.K., January 14th of 1972 in the U.K. The B-side in the U.S. was a song called Money, and the B-side in the U.K. was a song called Sweet Tuesday Morning. The single's off the band's 4th studio album titled Straight Up. The album itself reached number 31 in the U.S., number 13 in Canada, but did not chart in the top 40 in the UK for some reason. So being a band from over that direction and, being signed to Apple Records, kind of funny that the album didn't chart. But another thing about this album, it features another one of their fairly popular songs called Baby Blue, which if people have seen Breaking Bad, that is the song that ends that series out. So that's Badfinger. So this song is written and sang by Pete Ham. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London and produced by George Harrison, with the final mix being finished by Todd Rundgren because George Harrison had committed to organizing a concert, a famous concert of his, the Concert for Bangladesh. So he had to kind of cheek it out, and Todd Rundgren finished the producing on this.
Yeah, how would it be to have those kinds of commitments to keep you from fulfilling your obligation to making a record? Oh, I'm sorry. I've agreed to put on a concert.
Yeah, kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, for real. They just live in a different world than we do.
Yeah, they definitely do. So George Harrison also plays some slide guitar parts on this song along with Pete Ham, but the song also features Leon Russell on piano on this, which the piano is pretty prominent in this song.
And it sounds good too.
It does. So the song really captures, to me, it's kind of the bittersweet vibe that is attached to, like when you love someone, right? And they're far away from you at the time.
Yeah.
And the songwriter in this song even suggests that while she is gone, somehow he is emotionally connected to her and her emotional state at the time. So he can feel if she's sad. He can feel if she's happy or longing for something or missing him. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It just sounds like
this is the sort of stuff that you hear like in Identical Twins, right?
Yeah.
Somebody burns their hand and all of a sudden they're feeling a tingling or something. To take that and put it into, oh, this is how much I care about. To say that the catalyst in that, or what triggers it, is the love that he feels for her.
Well, I think the love he feels for her, the love she feels for him, they're obviously thinking of each other. So it's not, that's what's on their mind. So I don't think it's much of a connection as the connection makes them feel like there's a connection.
Yeah. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. This is a long distance relationship and it grates on the soul.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. So this song was Badfinger's biggest hit. It charted at number 4 in the U.S., number 2 in Canada, and it did chart at number 10 in the UK, even though the album didn't chart. It was certified gold in the US by the RIAA. And, in a much more fair world, this song would have been a springboard for this band to have long sustained success. Like I said, this band should have been a bigger success than they were, but there were a lot of issues, right? And after this album, mainly due to bad management, the chaos in Apple Corps at the time, their mental issues or whatever they had going on. Obviously, there was something going on with the guys. 2 of them committed suicide. So there was something going on in their heads. That really just put a stop to this band's momentum, and it's kind of sad. But what is your history of Day After Day? I assume you've heard this song.
Oh, yeah. This song has got prevalent play. This is that song that starts off with, I remember finding out about you. And yeah.
To me, this is a song that probably most people will know, but I would say 99% of those most people couldn't name who the artist is.
And I'm one of those 99%.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the way I see Badfinger.
Yeah.
I don't think they're pretty big in Beatles lore and things like that, and some people know Badfinger, but they just didn't quite hit like they should have. And I think at the time they were kind of looked at being the next big thing going into the 70s. But
and we love those bands.
So we listened to Day After Day 2 times in a row to kind of get it down. What are your thoughts on this song after sitting down and listening to it?
So this song is great. It opens up with that strong guitar and the bass and the drums. I mean, that power trio. And then you've got this sweet little piano in the back. And the piano, it adds this element of like tenderness and innocence to it. Like it makes this love song more pure, I feel. And it's got just that sweetness to it that's like he's in a long distance relationship and he's just counting the days. He's missing her so bad, day after day, waiting for her to come home so that he can give all his love to her, and feeling that connection when, you know, he can feel her tears when she's weeping. He can, you know, feel her joy when she's smiling. And it's a beautiful song. It's just such a familiar song that it's the intensity of the way that it's put together. It's a love that is throttled back by having to wait to be together. And that's the tragedy of it. So there's this little heart-wrenching part of that song that's, you know, it's so sad that they can't be together because they're apart, you know, miles apart from each other. But they're going to get together and it's going to be sweet and it's going to be wonderful because they are in love. And it's a wonderful thing. I really dig it. And I enjoy this song every time I hear it. I think it's a great love song. What are your feelings about this one, Justin?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed Badfinger. I haven't checked into their albums as much as I should. I've listened to them a few times, and a couple of them are good. A couple of them were tough for me to make it through, but I probably need to revisit that because I find myself, you know, with hits like these and things. And that's one thing we're going to do more this season is we're going to dig into some deeper tracks. We've went through a lot of the hits, and we're getting a lot of emails for songs that are off the beaten track and songs you wouldn't hear ever on the radio. And so that's something we're going to prioritize this season a little more.
Yeah.
Along with still doing our Meet the Beatles series and all that stuff like we've been doing. But as far as Day After Day, that really, really recognizable guitar lick to open this song. The bass is okay in it, but the one thing I think stands out big time in this song is the drumming. It's got good guitar licks throughout it, and the acoustic strumming is really nice through it, and the piano is subtle in the verses and things like that, but then it's kind of the lead instrument in between the choruses and stuff, and I really like that. I like when it goes to the solo, and you have the solo from the piano, which is really good on this from Leon Russell. I think he did an amazing job. And then the guitar solo in this is really good, and I think we've sometimes talking about songs that I hate when they use the piano. And then sometimes you're like, oh, the piano fits in perfect. This is a song where it fits in perfect.
Yeah. They've
used the guitar and the bass and the drums to make this kind of a heavy song in a way. But then just like you said, when the piano kicks in, it gives you the feeling of that song. It makes you feel what he's feeling or she's feeling or whatever. It kind of, the yin and the yang on this thing. And that's what I enjoy about it. I think it fits in perfect with this.
Well, with the guitar and the drums, you have that intensity of the passion of the love, right?
Yeah.
That piano just tempers it down. It cuts it and smooths it out. So it's a sweet, smooth love.
That's and I think if they would have done the whole song with that piano, it would have been tough because you just wouldn't have had that bouncing off of itself.
Yeah, you need that intensity. You need that passion, that strain that's having to be restrained, right?
Yeah, and in the pre-chorus, it's got some good little guitar licks too, and I really enjoyed those. As far as Pete Ham is concerned, his voice, I think he's got a really good vocal, and I think it's a shame this band wasn't around longer to produce more and see what they could do with things, but you know, that's what we're left with, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to rate the song?
I do.
Song rating.
Okay, listener, if this is your first episode, I will briefly explain our rating scale to you. 0 to 10, 10 being the best, and I put this one way up there at an 8. Where do you put this one, Justin?
So this is going to be the second episode in a row, and we don't go over these before.
No.
But I rate this as 8 as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I can't believe we're on the same rating 2 episodes in a row. I really enjoy this song. I would think, if anything, even though I said that Badfinger is kind of forgotten nowadays, and that's maybe even a bad way to put it, because I don't know if they were really ever truly known.
Yeah.
But this song, probably out of all theirs, gets the most play, without a doubt, and I guess deservedly so. It was their biggest hit and things like that, but this song probably suffers a little overplay for me.
It probably does, but even so, I think I would have rated this an 8 before listening to it to critique it.
Yeah, and this song is used in pop culture. I've seen it on some commercials and in some movies and things, so it's used. It's a beautiful song, and Badfinger, especially those few albums they did with Apple, I think are really worth visiting, because those are the ones that I can get into, and they're a pretty good band.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, I appreciate the suggestion. That's Badfinger, Day After Day. We really appreciate you guys taking your time to listen. It means a lot to us. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, have songs or albums you'd like us to rate, send them to classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com. And I guess we'll be here again next week, right?
Look forward to it.
Okay, we'll see you then.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to Classic Vinyl Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Classic Vinyl Podcast for updates, and also share us with your music-loving friends.